All right. Well, welcome to the Economy Creators Workshop. I do this monthly, so the first full week of every month, we talk about being an economy creator, what that means, what that looks like, and hopefully you'll walk away feeling ready to do a little bit more for your economy, having a little more organization in your mind. And really this is born out of my interviewing economy creators and working with economy creators and being an economy creator. I have been for a long time. So what that means is an economy creator is somebody who creates an economy, a thriving economy around their unique interests, talents, and experiences. And this is something that I've been doing for a long time. I created my own jobs, is kind of how I joked with my husband, like, we just make our stuff up. We just make up our own jobs. And he's like, yeah, no kidding. I don't, he's actually a chemical engineer by trade, but he doesn't do that. He has an engineer's mind, but he doesn't do that as his business. And so, um, and you all know my story. Gymnastics was the center of my world for a really, really long time. That's how I know Megan, by the way. And as a gymnast, I did lots and lots of, um, I don't know. I really thought that I could only be successful in gymnastics so long as I was in the gym, right? And that translated into me doing a lot of different things. I was in politics, but doing, I was still choreographing floor routines. I was an exam developer for the American Board of Radiology, but I was using that as my bridge job to open our gym and to do all sorts of things. I started my publishing company, but I wrote gymnastics books, right? So everything centered around gymnastics, which wasn't a bad thing. It was just how I grew in my life and how I moved forward throughout my life. And once I hit about 2015, my husband and I had our gym and we were thinking about, this is pretty good. We've got this going on. But I had this pull to do something more. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And so I self-development book out there so I could help as I saw them, with the full potential that they had in front of them. And as I did all of that searching, I came across Bob Proctor. I watched The Secret and I was like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And so I came across Bob Proctor and I was like, "Oh, unconscious competent. This describes who I am and what I've done my whole life, right?" Um, Working with the laws, having a positive attitude even in the face of big injury, big heartache, and all that stuff that goes along with gymnastics. And I found that there was this thing that made me different from my teammates, and something that just made me different from everybody who I was around. And it really was glaringly obvious in college when everybody on my team absolutely hated the sport. They were just kind of putting up with it. I got to this place and I have to I'm seeing it out and I got my scholarship. So I'm just gonna be here for these 4 years. But what I found was that I still loved the sport and that there was something that was different about me. And until I found Bob, I didn't know what that was. So unconscious competence, that means that I was working with the laws that govern the world naturally. And I was controlling my mind naturally. And I had poise in the face of fear. There was fear everywhere, but I was poised anyway, right? And so, except for on beam, right, Megan? But the fact is that I really understood what it meant when Bob says to harness these intellectual faculties that we have, to use the laws to our advantage, and to really hone in on what it is. And so as I started into this economy creators path. I'm super excited about it because what it is now is an anthology, and we've got Ryan, Donna, and LA are three of our co-authors on our anthology. So excited about that. We're in the writing stages now. We've brought all of our co-authors on board now, and we're in the writing stages of each of our chapters. And the book will be published at the end of this year, and I'm so excited. You're going to learn more about all of these people in this Economy Creators Workshop, but also on my podcast and radio show, and in all my social media and all those things. So you're going to learn a lot about these cool people. Um, but as I interview people, I realize that the missing link really is in um, understanding that there is so much more to us than meets the eye. We are more than just this physical body that we're living in. And the reason why we have desire, we wanted things and go places and have the things is because there's spirit within us telling us, this is what you're for. This is what you're cut. This workshop helps to kind of uncover that just a little bit. And if you want to go deeper into it, I have lots of ways to do that. So today is leading yourself. That's the first step in creating an economy. There are three steps. The first one, and we're focusing on that today, is leading yourself. The second one is leading your economy, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Something like, what can my economy look like? And then the third step is leading others. So many people jump into growing my business and leading other people before they lead themselves first. And this is something we went into ad nauseum for me and our mastery call. Yeah, just this last hour, I was talking about leading ourselves first. We really have to be willing to do that inner work first, because the inner work that we do or don't do is going to show up in our economy, and it's going to show up in how we lead other people or don't lead other people, including our families. We're leaders in our families. We're leaders as parents, we're leaders as siblings, we're leaders as children and parents, and that's how it works. So leading yourself first, what does that look like? Well, in Magnet Mind this month in April, we are doing the study challenge. It's really focused on studying. And what that means is that no, you don't just like learn some vocabulary words and regurgitate them at the end of the week like my daughter's doing, right? We actually study like a scientist is what Bob Proctor tells us as consultants. You have to be a product of the product, understand what we're teaching, and then apply it to your life. And Bob said to all the consultants, he said, the very first thing, we all wanted to go out there and just spread this awesome material with the world. And he said, lead yourself first, fix your life first. And so it really is a testament to he practiced what he preached. He studied every single day for 61 years of his life. He led himself first and he fixed his own life first. So that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. In the workbook, and I'll grab that right now, I'll share my screen with you. I'll put it on a little bit bigger. So each day has a workbook and or worksheets, and the full workbook's also in the inside of the member portal where you have all the information, all the replays and everything. So what we do is kind of take a little quiz, take a little inventory of whether these things that that I'll be sharing with you, if they're true for you, if they're sort of true, or if they're definitely true for you. Because if you've taken the quiz that I created online, this is much like that, except for you're going to get deeper explanation and you can ask all your questions and I'll answer all your questions on this call. So you can go into this and maybe your question or your answers to the questions might be different than when you went through the quiz online. So we're just bringing clarity to this whole thing. We really want to understand where we are so we can best begin to create this thriving economy around us. I love helping people make a U-shaped economy, Y-O-U. It's developed around you. That's why mine was around gymnastics for so long, right? And now, if you can see, there's a horse in here in my logo, and now it's all about horses. It's not all about horses, but horses are a metric for me. I love it. So let's just go through this, and you can guide or you can rate yourself on a scale 1 to 5 on each of these things. 1 meaning this is not true, 3 meaning sort of true, and 5 meaning yes, absolutely true for me. So the first one is I have a clear vision for the life and work I want to create. So when I say this, yes, it means I know what I want, right? Asking ourselves, what do I want is key. We have to start with a desire. That's the very first step in everything. Napoleon Hill talks about that in Think and Grow Rich. Desire is the um, first step in the realization of a goal is we have to know what it is that we want. Wallace D. Waddle says we have to have a clear image of the life that we truly want to live. So ask yourself, do I have a clear vision for the life and work I want to create? And I help people create a self-image script that really can shed light onto this. But it really starts the question, what do I want? And so many people that I've spoken to don't ask themselves that question once they get into adulthood, right? We start doing things out of obligation. We and it starts with school, we go to college and we get a degree and that's what we're supposed to do. And then we get a job and then we get a pension and then we get, we go through this system of things rather than deciding, is this really what I want? And so we want to make a well-rounded vision. So not just for your work, but what does your family life look like? What does your bank account look like? What is your how does your health look? We want a clear vision of what it is that we want. And it starts by we need to make a list. We need to make a list of all the things that we truly desire in this world. We just do. And that list changes. We can enhance it every time you see something that you're like, ooh, I want those shoes. Put that on the list, right? So it can be as innocuous as a pair of shoes, but it can be as grandiose as the house on the mountaintop, right? So we need to ask ourselves that question, what do I want? And then take it a step further and make a clear vision out of it. Because when we're just like, yeah, I want more money. Well, guess what? A dollar is more, right? A dollar is more money. We don't just want a dollar more. Most people don't, at least, right? So we have to be very specific and very clear on what it is that we want. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about clear vision of the life that you want? You can just start speaking because I can't see everybody since I'm sharing my screen. Does anybody need to have any questions on how to get more clear on what it is that you want? Nope. Okay.
No, I don't have any questions, but the before you started doing the economy creators workshop, you did experiment with a 5 day workshop, and then before that, every first Monday, you had the self-image scripting workshop, and then also inside of our Magnet Mind, Magnet 30 Path to Mastery community, you have a 3 day mini self-image challenge. So this this whole, I can always easily answer yes in all caps on question number 1 because I have a self-image grip. And
Mm.
maybe it's called something different for other people. Maybe it's just something that you think over and over again throughout your day. You may not, you may have it in your journal, you may have it documented somewhere, or may have just notes here and there. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I'm growing into. Those kinds of things. And so my life and my work are congruent with the self-image that I have you know, in my script and also what I think about every day. There are only the only gaps that I see are when I allow myself to succumb to circumstances or results that I don't like. And I do, and I give too much attention to it. So, but yeah, it's one thing to have it, this and that. But the other thing is that it's so important for me, and I know Mary teaches this, but it's so important for me to always look at that, read it, listen to it if you have it recorded, and absorb it every day. Spend at least 30 minutes every day with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing too is what you were just talking about with the idea of whether or not I let circumstances dictate what I'm thinking instead of my self-image script. And that's really what it comes down to. And I was talking about study, because when we study, the more we can understand why we can have that faith in that vision of what it is that we want to bring about. So if you don't have a clear vision, or if you don't have a self-image script, or it could be a very vivid um, well, it could be pictures, it could be a vision board, it could be anything like that that really helps you focus in on the things that you truly desire. If you don't have that, then I have a course that you could, or a guide that you could find too, that would help you with that. So with the replay, I'll send out how you can get that, okay? Um, okay. So then, does anybody have any other questions on that? Okay.
Would that be a clear vision for like this week, this month, this year, this decade?
Yeah, well, yes, 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 yes. So, so Sharon, what I would say is have the ultimate goal, have that big, huge vision of what you want your life to look like, and then you can say, okay, that's what it looks like in 10 years. Then in 5 years, this is what it looks like. In 3 years, this is what it looks like. And this year, this is what it looks like. I have my self-image script doesn't have an end date because I continuously add to it. But my goal, my big C type goal that Bob Proctor suggests that we have, is this year. So this year's goal, it's big and it's bold, and that's what I'm focused on for this year. But it is a part of that larger self-image script. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay, I can use that.
Okay, good, 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 good. All right. Number two, I have written, okay, did everyone rate to yourself on a scale 1 to 5 for number one? I hope so. No? Okay, do that. Number one, I have a clear vision, 1 to 5. And then number two, I have written goals that I regularly review and work toward. Notice the word written. We need to write it down. And the reason is that handwriting actually creates more neural pathways than typing or just imagining. Um, so thank you, LA, for sharing. 1.4, good. So handwritten goals, one, we spend more time with because it takes longer to write them down. So as a part of my work with Bob and thinking into results that I teach, I have a goal card that I read every day, and I carry it with me. It's right here. And but I also write my goal every single day. right? And so what we need to do is use the tools that we have in our toolbox. Handwriting actually helps us. Really, 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 it does. Napoleon Hill, back in 1937 in Think and Grow Rich, said, writing it down is the first step in transmuting your desire into physical form. And the reason is because when we handwrite, we're getting it out of our mind and we're putting it on paper and it's tangible all of a sudden. The second reason why is because when we do handwrite something, we spend more time with it and we imagine it. So we think in pictures. And so when we're imagining our goal as we handwrite it, we're spending more time with it and we're spending time with that image. So if your self-image script does not have that written goal in it, put it in there. Make sure that it does. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about number 2 as you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5? Goals are so important. I learned how to set goals back in gymnastics. I actually did. And so it was really easy as a gymnast to decide what my goals were. So, but when I got out of the gym and I was done with the sport, I was like, I don't have any goals. I have no idea. I have no idea, right? Just like Sharon's like, I don't know, because they were kind of handed to me for a while, right? It was like, this is what you're supposed to do, like a student in school. I I want to get this grade, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to study that, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to do this, and I want to have this degree, and I want to, so those goals were kind of set for us. And then all of a sudden we get out in the real world and then we have should be goals and is what I want to say. The whole world shoulds on us, right? It says you should do this, you should do that, you should go here, you should be this. You should get married at a certain age. You should have kids next. You should go get that job. You should keep that job forever. All these things, right? And we stop imagining and stop really listening to our inner pull and our desires. So, really think about your goals and ask yourself, is this mine? Is this my goal or is this somebody else's goal that they made for me? Right. All right. So go ahead and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 on number 2. So LA had okay, 1.4 on number 1. Sharon, 2. Good. Okay. Good. If you want, you can put it in the chat. Your scores. Sharon, okay. Yeah. Is it the written part, Sharon, that you don't have, or is it the reviewing part or working toward? Which part?
They're all
All of the above?
well, I tend to commit to, I know what my intentions are, and I don't call them goals.
Mm,
I'm growing an appreciation for goals being something that's measurable.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I'm coming along slowly,
Yeah.
being curious.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing too. Our self-image script can be clear. Obviously, it should be clear, our self-image script. And but it's measurable when we know when we've gotten there. And that's one of the things that Bob Proctor suggests is have a money goal on top of other things because a money goal is measurable. You know when you hit it, right? And one of the things too, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, is the law of compensation. So if you want more money, you have to provide more service. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow. But keep in mind that, like Sharon said, measurable is really, really important because it helps us to know when we get there and know where we need more work, right? All right. We've got, oh, 2s and 3s. Good, good, good. I like it. I like it.
Mary,
Okay. Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is 1 the lowest?
Yes, 1 is the lowest.
Okay, because I was confused when Lele put 1.4 on the first one. I know it's higher.
Well, let me explain. I was about to explain that. That
There you
was
go.
for that was for number one, the question. That's what the one represents. The four is my answer.
Got it. There it is.
That
Number
see,
one.
that's what I was like. I was like, LA, what the heck is this 1.4? So
I said they
question
probably
mark.
don't know why I did
Oh, I
that.
see.
I should have maybe put a parenthesis behind the one, and then maybe it would have been
Yeah,
understandable and stuff.
that yeah,
But that,
that was brilliant of you to do that because you knew what Mary was going to keep doing is asking us, and then we're all of our answers are going to be all jumbled
right,
up.
right.
'Cause I haven't even posted anything yet, and if I did post something right now, is that for question one or question two?
See, LA knows what he's doing. Good
Yes, he
job.
does. Thank
I
you,
like
LA, because I knew you were at a
it.
four at least, at least.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. So number three, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. I'm sorry. See, gymnastics, 10. I follow a structured and ongoing personal development program that strengthens my thinking. So this question is so important because, and this is in the idea of study, right? How often do you study? So is it structured? One, so do you have some sort of program that you study? Is it ongoing? Meaning, can it take you from beginning to all the way to the end of your days, right? Is it that robust? And are you doing it? There's one thing to have a program. The second thing is, do you do it? Do you spend time every single day focused on that program? Right? So I'll give you an example. So what I study is what I teach, is thinking into results. And I have gone through this program multiple times, like 10, I don't know, since I started with Bob. And it is ongoing. It's a lifestyle. It's the way it teaches you how to think, and it teaches you about the laws of the universe, and it teaches us how to set a goal, why to set a goal. It teaches us how to bridge the gap between knowing and doing. Why am I not doing all this stuff that I know how to do, right? I can tell my best friend everything that she's supposed to do, but I'm not doing any of it. Or is it something that, like most people, or do you consume information, but you don't apply it? And that's what I see the most often is people go saying, I've been in self-development for 20 years, but my life is still like this because they didn't apply what the teaching is. And that's why a coach or a mentor is so important because I would never have gone to the gym and gotten to where I got without a coach. I needed a coach. I needed someone with accountability for me. I needed someone to give me structure. I needed someone to give me a program to see me through to the end. Someone who could see me at my goal before I even had a glimmer in my eye about what my goal could look like, right? So we need to have that in our lives that strengthens our thinking, and we need to do it every day. So it's one thing to have the book, but it's another thing to read the book, study the book, and apply the book, right? So, what is everyone's answer for number three? A scale 1 to 5. And anybody have any questions about that? No. There are one, two, three people on this call who also study along with me in thinking into results, and that's LA, Ryan, and Donna. And they're our mastery students, and they study what I study, and they study every day. And they're getting better and better and better, right? We're all just getting better. Somebody asked me one day, they're like, how do you know when you've mastered it? And I said, well, when you die. You don't master it. You just get better and better and better. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? No, no. All right. I do want to highlight something really important. Donna is off camera, but she is realizing one of her C-type goals as we speak. She has wanted to move to Arizona for, I don't know, 9, 10 years. And she actually has, we in the mastery group have seen her move through all these iterations of going after the C-type goal. So she finally sold her house and she got in the car last Tuesday and she's pulling into Arizona today. So yay for Donna. So that's one of the things that we do is we celebrate each other achieving our goals, and that's one goal on her way to the big one. So Sharon, to your point before, this is measurable, don't you think? I live in Arizona. Yep, that's measurable. I know when I'm there. There you go. All right. Okay, so answers for number 3, scale of 1 to 5. Let's see. So Sharon, let me ask you this. You put a 1 in there and you are brave because, not everybody wants to admit it. So I know that you know some stuff about things and you've done programs. So what is it that you've done and what is it that you feel like you need?
Um, well, I guess I'm kind of learning through a lot of the things I watch on social media. They uh, help me think, and there's a lot of what do you call it? Thought leaders that I kind of follow and participate in commenting on, learning from, but that's kind of ad hoc as it comes along.
Mhm.
So I think I picked up a book today that somebody mentioned to me yesterday. Um, maybe it was no, it wasn't you. Yeah, somebody else I was on a Zoom call with. But written by a lady that went through the Holocaust, and
Hmm.
I think the book is about possibility, and I'm all about possibilities, but I don't know that it's structured in such a way that I can uh, use it as personal development, but anything that anybody else's perspective on possibility, of course, could strengthen mine. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and you bring up a really excellent point. There's so much information out there. We could put together a course on multiple courses, many, 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 many courses from all the stuff that's available on YouTube and even on Bob Proctor's channel, the Proctor Gallagher Institute's channel. It could be multiple courses. The where the gap is in the structure and in the application. So, like you said, it's ad hoc. So it's kind of, oh, I have time. I'm going to go over here and see what they're saying today, or there's a workshop. So I'm going to go look at that. Right. But that's not structured and ongoing. Right. So, one of the things that we have to understand is that if we pick up a book, let's say you pick up Think and Grow Rich, like Bob did back in 1963, right? And you're just reading, go, oh, that was a good book, and put it down on your shelf. Well, it's just not going to do anything for you. But if you take it chapter by chapter and do exactly what the man says, then it works. Um, that's why I created how to study Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I created a book and a course that goes along with it because when we just read it, we don't absorb it. We can say, oh, that's a great idea, that's a good thing, and I know all these things, but if we're not applying it, it does no good for us. And that's just the key, right? Okay, so rate yourself on number 3 on a scale of 1 to 5. And then number 4, my self-image supports the level of success I want to achieve. Ooh, this is a big one. So, self-image sets the boundaries for our accomplishments. We can only go so far as our self-image allows us. If we see ourselves as capable and confident and wise and calm and all of these wonderful things, successful, then we will be those things. But if we see ourselves as shy and holding back and not enough, or worried or doubtful of our skills or not smart enough or anything like that, then we will show up that way. And what I mean by show up is that not only will people see us that way, but because we see ourselves that way, the universe will mirror that back to us and give us all the reasons why we should continue to believe it about ourselves, because we'll get those results. So Ryan mentioned self-image scripting before, and I have lots of things on self-image scripting, because when we set a big, huge goal, like Bob suggests that we do, we need to upgrade our self-image. We need to have a self-image that supports that version of us. So when I was a gymnast, for instance, and I was in level 7 and I wanted to be level 10, my current self-image was like, oh, I can't do that. That's a big, huge skill and it's scary. But as I started visualizing myself as a collegiate athlete, as a level 10 gymnast, I started believing that that's where I would get to, and then I got to, right? And it's really interesting how that works, because, and like I said, I was an unconscious competent, so I was doing this stuff and I didn't really realize what I was doing until I met Bob. But the fact is I was a level 7, and then I was a level 8, and then I skipped level 9 and I got to level 10. And I was a level 10 for 4 years. And so my self-image was that I was a level 10. And I got there way faster than a lot of my teammates. Well, than any of my teammates at that time. So what you have to realize is that the universe will bend over backwards to give you what you want if your self-image matches that thing. Nobody else skipped levels. I don't even know if you can. It's just a thing that happened, and there was a loophole, and there's all these things. So we have to understand that when we get to that point of believing that that is who we are, the world shows up to prove to us that that is who we are. And the other thing that I want to say about self-image is, yes, there's one thing to have a self-image script, and it's so important to have that because you need to start there, right? It's another thing to be that self-image and to believe you're that version of you now. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? It's a big one. It's a big one. Okay.
One of my goals that I made, I was on a retreat last week, and they had us come up, those of us that were brave enough to commit by the end of the year to reach another goal, that we had just heard everybody's testimony about how they reached their goal. And so who's the next new ones, you know? Well, it's all about losing weight. And I've gone to a couple of these events that I've noticed how often people are wearing baggy clothes. That doesn't look like you've reached any goal, you know? So in fact, coming as a result of going to, it was a scholarship that I earned to be there even, but they asked me in my local group to give a talk on a couple of weeks of what I learned. And so I thought, okay, what am I going to wear? I want to kind of like look good. That's kind of been a theme through my life, I guess. But it finally dawned on me. I have a sweater, kind of a sleeveless sweater that is artwork. And I've had that for like maybe 20 years, and I was too big for the sweater. And now it's starting to look pretty good.
Ah, good.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, I can wear that and feel good about myself to this where I'm going to be sharing a little bit. So that's kind of maybe example of maybe the opposite view of you've changed, but it doesn't show.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is so true. And you bring up such a great point, Sharon. Thank you, because that's how self-image psychology actually came about, was Maxwell Maltz and psychocybernetics. And what
Oh,
he, yeah, and he was a plastic surgeon. And so what he noticed was then after surgeries, some people made this huge shift in their personality because now they didn't have the scar, their nose looked good or whatever it is that they had. But there were also other people who looked phenomenal after their surgery and still wore the baggy clothes, like you just said, so their self-image didn't catch up to that new version of them. It didn't support that new look, that different weight as you were talking about, right? And so they still saw themselves as flawed in a way, rather than what you were saying is, hey, here I am, look at me now. Right? So keep that self-image going, stoke the fire. That's good. I like it. All right, so everybody rate yourself on self-image, scale of 1 to 5. And then we'll move on to number 5. I maintain emotional stability and focus, even when external circumstances are challenging. So I like to use traffic as an example a lot. That guy cut me off. Do you say, that guy cut me off? Or do you go, okay, go ahead. Right? So do we have this emotional stability of this is who I am no matter what is going on around me? Am I stable in how I present myself, in how I send off my signal to the world? So the thing is with number 5 is I decide who I'm being and I be it no matter what, right? Does somebody come up and yell at you and you yell back, right? Or do you have a teenage kid and you get in a fight with them? Whatever it is. Or does it just happen and you're you being you and you're not rattled? That's really key. All right. So rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5 when it comes to number 5. Ooh, Sharon, I like your numbers.
I got rattled this morning. I was going to put a 5, but I thought, oh, I was rattled this morning, so not a
There
5.
you go. There you go. There you go. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Emotional stability and focus. I'll give you a hint on this one too, is if you have a clear focus on what your goal is and the self-image of that person who has your goal, you know how they should be acting in that. I'm not going to say should. You know how they act in that moment all the time. They have a clear signal that they're sending out to the world. So when you're focused on being that, then I can tell you your emotional stability will be rock solid. But when you're fluctuating of, oh, I hope this guy doesn't come, or I hope that doesn't happen, or I hope this doesn't happen, then you're allowing circumstances to dictate how you feel. Okay. All right. Number 6, my daily habits align with the person I am becoming. Oh, there is a really great essay called The Common Denominator of Success. And the tagline inside the common denominator of success is that successful people make habits of doing the things that failures don't like to do. So make habits out of the things that are going to make you successful in whatever it is that you truly desire to do. So I'll go back to gymnastics. Why was I successful in gymnastics? Because I made habits out of conditioning and flexibility and stretching and doing all my numbers and doing the repetitions and doing all the things that I needed to do in order to be successful. Some counterparts did not put that habitual effort in. Their habit stance was that they would cheat on their conditioning, or they would, get out of their splits early, or whatever it is. It doesn't, whatever that is. But habit is, Robert Russell says, habit is God's way of making good automatic in our lives, right? So when we create habits, we don't have to think about it anymore. Isn't that great? So even if you don't like doing it, it doesn't, who loves brushing their teeth? Not many people just, I can't wait to brush my teeth. Nobody says that, but we all do it, right? So we form the habit of doing the thing of the person with good teeth. It's the way it is. And so are you forming the habits of the person you're becoming? So this requires us to look at that self-image script and to say, what does this person do on a daily basis? How does she show up? How does he do this? How does he think about that? Right? So answer that question. My habits align with the person I am becoming on a scale of 1 to 5. All right. Good, good, good. Does anybody have any questions about that? LA, you had questions about habits in the first call that we had today. Do you have any more?
Uh, well, yeah. Or comment. I've like I said, I had the programs I need to pull out and start working on. But I need the. I think what I should do is write it down so I know what I need to be working on.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of my things turn, are threes because I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it consistently enough. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I know clearly what I'm trying to change, that's what I need to work on or something to that effect, then I can do it consistently, catch myself better, and make sure I'm moving forward or building it, making it good with the good habit stronger, and so it'll overtake the bad habit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What lesson are you on in thinking into results right now?
Two,
Oh, perfect. That's the one you need to be on.
two, yes.
Identifying those productive and non-productive actions, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Because that's where you can really hone in on that and write it all down.
You did say thinking into results, right?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Perfect. All right, everybody. So the next thing that we do, there's some reflection questions, and these are for you to just kind of write down after we're done here today. But what decision have I been avoiding? Decision is so important. Making the decision to live a different life, to have the courage to be someone a little out of your comfort zone, to show up as the other person. Who cares if people are going to go, "Oh, where's this been all your life?" Who cares? It's your life. Don't care what other people have to think and say about you. Napoleon Hill talks about that extensively in Think and Grow Rich. He talks about the fact that, opinions, people are going to have opinions all the time, and they are a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. So don't even give them another thought. Opinions are the cheapest commodity out there. Okay. So the biggest thing that you need to do is listen to that inner guidance and hear what it has to say and follow it. My daughter asked me the other day, she was asking me a bunch of questions. And I said, anything else? And she goes, yeah, what's the meaning of life? And I said, to listen to your inner guidance and then follow it. And she goes, oh. She's like, darn, you had an answer. But that's what we have to do. And so decision is saying, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm doing that. And then do it, right? Making a committed decision. I'm going there. Okay. The second question is, what do I adjust first when results dip? So if you notice that, oh, that happened, then your results are kind of iffy. Where do you think you need to, well, one, where do you shift? Do you try and manhandle circumstances, or do you go, oh, I was thinking the wrong thought? Because I used to manhandle circumstances until I learned that thoughts are where the actions actually begin. Our behavior is a result of our thoughts. So, LA, so when you want to have different habits, you have to think the thoughts of the person who has those habits first, right? And that's where that self-image script comes in so helpfully is to have those identify the thoughts, the bulletproof attitude that we share in applied mastery or that we help you with and help you create in that 60-day package, right? You have to think the thoughts of that version of you. And then where is my discipline inconsistent? So maybe you sleep in or some days, or maybe you study some days, or maybe you sometimes meditate, or this is the sometimes stuff, right? Like, I watch what I eat occasionally, or most days, or I don't drink that much milk. That's what I'm plant-based, and that's the first thing that people say. They're like, oh, I don't eat that much meat, or I don't eat that much dairy, or whatever it is. So that's inconsistencies. Not that they're trying to not eat it, but if they were, that's where their inconsistency would be, right? So where are you inconsistent? So you just spend some time thinking about those things. And then what we do is we average out our step one scores. So what do you think? What are your averages? Ooh, Dorothy, there you go. I love it. Average 3, Dorothy. Thank you. There you go. Good, good, good. Fabulous. So if you're under 3, then you need some more leading yourself stabilization, right? Before you can have your big, huge expansion inside of your economy. And if you have a 3 or a 4, then you need some more reinforcement, right? So I honestly believe that everyone's a 4 is the highest score because somebody asked me the other day, when do you know you're a master? You're never a master when you're dead, right? When you're dead, you're a master. So I would say everybody is tops off at a 4 because we all have to continue to learn and continue to study and continue to apply these principles. Sarah, one of our mastery students, said the other day, she said, well, if Mary stops learning, then we're all screwed. Because if you're going to be taught by someone, that person has to continuously improve, just like what Bob Proctor did. He studied every single day for 61 years until the day he died. And he studied like a scientist and he applied everything. So that's really what we need to focus on. So that is a wrap on day one. Does anybody have any final questions on leading yourself as we go through this Economy Creators Workshop? Did you notice anything? Anybody want to share something about themselves that you noticed? Sharon, I want to thank you for speaking up today.
Thank you.
Nobody? You're all good? Okay. Did you learn
Well,
all of this?
I'm noticing that before we was doing it, I was still kind of unsure about how to take this or what I need to do. But like I told you a long time ago, it takes me a couple of times to go through something for me to figure it out. Let's
Yeah.
get it to an operational point,
Mhm.
and that's what I'm getting to now,
Mhm.
and that's why I keep coming back, and because I see that, and it's just gonna make it gets better and easier
Yeah.
as we go on and stuff for myself.
Good. Well, guess what? It's not just you. Sharon's over here nodding and yep, thumbs upping. And it's so true. We need to hear things a few times. And guess what? That's what thinking into results is. Learning all of this stuff is it's conditioning our minds. We are
Right.
conditioned to think the way we already think. And so to have a new idea pop in, we can easily go, or really, or maybe, or, but as we hear it
Mhm.
over and over and over again, we kind of go, you know what? What he's saying kind of is making sense, right? Yeah. So good. I love it. Thank you, LA. Ryan, did you
Well,
have anything to, oh, go ahead, Sharon.
I read a book, Liberating Greatness, twice, and in first and second grade, his young years, he was thought the teachers thought he had something missing because of how he either didn't catch on or took him a long time. And even in college, he had to study something like 3 and 4 times. He went on to become a patent attorney.
There you go.
He
There you
knew
go.
he knew what it cost him to learn, and he did it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Most people don't learn what they study, do they? Yeah. That's so good. Thank you. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I noticed how much repetition has really impacted my scores. I've been on this economy monthly challenge with you, and like LA, he's starting to get the hang of it now. I am too, and I'm actually, you know, starting to allow myself to be like, yeah, I'm doing really well in that area. Cause I was looking at Dorothy's score, I was like, yeah, she's doing really well in that area. But when you think about all the six questions collectively, it comes down to an average of four for me. Because I'm a little below in one or two and a little and a lot and above. Well, at least because I think I've gotten a boost in my self-confidence just being a part of this economy creators workshop because it's reminding me on a monthly basis that when I show up for this, I'm going through this exercise. So I get to kind of take stock in how the previous month went. And then
Yeah.
have I seen any improvements? And I have to say yes.
Good. That's really good. And self-analysis is one of the biggest things that Napoleon Hill tells us to do. And he gives us quite a few self-analysis questions inside of Think and Grow Rich as well. And that's our to Sharon's point before, that is metrics along the way to reaching our goal. We can go, oh look, I improved here and I improved there. And maybe between this month and next month, you can go, you know what, I'm really going to focus on writing my goal every single day. And maybe that'll be a 5 next month, right? Something like that. And so you can use this information to start, like LA was talking about habits, to start developing those habits. Or maybe you don't have a self-image script. Maybe you use this month to develop that. Or maybe you have one, but you put it in a drawer and you haven't used it since you wrote it.
Well,
Right? So there are lots
yeah,
of things that you could do.
I think mastery members have an advantage because we do this every day, um, because we're committed to it. And that's
Mhm.
the key. Because I can only imagine what it's like for somebody brand new off the street coming to this and like, I haven't really thought about any of this. What is my score? But
Yeah.
but after studying, thinking into results for 2 years now, right, Mary? Going on.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah, going on it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's finally kicking in. But it but,
Ah,
but you said something very early on that I think everybody could remember and take home to the bank and cash it and apply it to their lives is this has to be a lifestyle. Just like going to the gym and working out, just like eating properly, exercising properly, feeding your mind, um, nurturing your relationships, worshiping whatever it is that you worship, and practice spirituality, being a human. You only get better through repetition. And you can either repeat bad habits or you can repeat good habits, which choose one. And so
Yeah.
I choose to repeat good habits, which I learned best from the one and only Mary Farias.
Oh, well, I learned from Bob and a bunch of others.
I know I learned
But
from
thank
I
you.
say the one and only just because I want to look I just want to be silly, but I I'd spend the most time with you and I do spend a lot of time with others as well, but my favorite part of my life is Magnet Mind community. So
Oh,
thank you, Sharon. Thank you, LA. Thank you, Dorothy. So good to see you. Megan, so good to see you. Blast from the past from a little while ago. You were one of the first people I saw when I first joined Mary. And then, of course, Donna, I got to meet in person. Yes, the day
I
before
know
yesterday
how
on Easter. She
exciting.
came through my city. She took a little detour and we had breakfast. So
I
so
love that. I love that. And she's landing in Tucson pretty soon, probably like now almost, huh, Donna? You're probably hitting traffic, but she's almost here.
yay. All right. Looking forward to seeing when you meet, knowing when
Yay.
you meet, learning about that. It's gonna be great.
Sharon, did you have a question?
Yeah, Mary, how many years did you know Bob?
Well, I became a consultant started in 2021 and he died in 2022. So I didn't know him for very long personally. It was COVID, so we knew each other on a screen like I know you. But it was remarkable because we were on calls every single day with Bob in the groups and just it was awesome. So Bob, oh yeah. So but so only a year, but it felt like, I still see him and I teach him and I learn from him every single day anyway, so it's like he's still here. But he's all right. Thank you all. I'll see you all tomorrow. This was so good. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, reach out to me. Megan, did you have a question?
Nope. I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's so good to see you. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Dorothy. I love that, what you said for the clarity. So thank you. Yep, we all have to push ourselves, definitely, out of our comfort zones. We just big fat go. That's what we have to do. All right. Thank you, everybody. I was going to say ladies, but there's ladies and gentlemen. Bye. Goodbye.